going to give you some advice. But I don't know if you've noticed that sometimes we give advice to people and they don't really listen. Does that happen to you? It's happened to me. Sometimes people have given me some advice and I have not listened. So I realized that, I'm going to give you some advice and it's possible that you might not listen. It's kind of like teaching. Sometimes, I'm up there teaching and I'm pretty much in the flow, but I realize that maybe not everyone else is. And I'll give you an example. This fall, the electricity went out. And so I said, let's go out to the beach. It's a nice day. And so we brought our books out and our notes. And I was pontificating and explicating and replicating and doing all kinds of stuff. And not everybody was with me. And I realized that advice is kind of like that same thing. You can give it, but maybe people don't always listen to it or take it. I can't talk at a time like this without talking about my best friend, who I met in 2nd grade when I was a new kid at St. Patrick's Grade School in Kankakee, Illinois. We were best buddies through high school, and 5 days before I graduated, or we were to graduate, he died. He was killed by a drunk driver. And, I learned at a pretty early age that life is short, and life can be hard. But I also learned that life is beautiful. And so every day I think to myself, I'm so happy to be here. And so I was always so happy to be with you, too. And that's why you catch me, honey. It's just because I'm happy to be here. You should be, too. And you should realize that the people you're around, theresich no guarantee. And so you have to take advantage of it and celebrate life while you can. I'm going to give you some advice from a person named William Shakespeare. He wrote a play called Hamlet. Some of you have read it, I know. Raise your hand if you've read Hamlet. So you'll remember this part where there's a character named Laertes, and he's going away to college. And his father, Polonius, is giving him some advice, and it's sage advice. It's really good advice, but I want to zero in on just a couple of those pieces of advice. And in particular, 3 of them. Those friends thou hast in their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. In other words, if you've got some good friends, keep those good friends. Don't lose track of them. If you hang out with frenemies, graduation gives you a good time to just ditch them. Okay? And just say, it's been nice knowing you, but I got to pack my bags for college. See you later. But if you've got good friends, keep them. Another piece of advice he talks about. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Listen, how about, instead of talking so much. We're a culture where everybody talks and everybody shouts, and not a lot of people listen. I don't know if you've noticed that. But sometimes it's okay to just let people talk and listen to them. And when people criticize you, they might be right. You might be wrong. I might be wrong. I find myself wrong quite often, actually. And the last piece of advice Polonius gives to his son before he goes away to school is this, above all, to thine own self be true. And a lot of people misinterpret that because you could think to yourself, well, that means that whatever I do, it's going to be okay, because I think it's true, so therefore it must be right. I just go ahead and do that and give me license to do whatever I want to do. But that's not what he's saying. I'm going to give you another piece of advice from Paul, his letter to the Philippians. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, if there is any excellence, and if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. If you can live your life along those lines, you'll be doing all right. But notice, whatever is true. The problem is we don't know always what truth is. So what is true? One of my favorite educational philosophers lived about 100 years, so wise guy. And I lived from 1859 to 1952. John Dewey, little sketch over there. But he influenced a lot of my thinking, and that is, if you've ever had me in class, I talk a lot about inquiry. You need to have questions that drive your learning. If you've ever learned something and you're really happy about that thing you learned, it was because you had questions that needed to be answered. John Dewey believed that education was inquiry, a process of openly submitting for testing by a community of learners in order to clarify, justify, refine, and or refute proposed truth. So we only know if it's true if we test the truth with other people. Surround yourself with good people. If you think things are true, test those truths with people. That's what you'll do in college. And sometimes you'll find that you might be wrong. I feel like John Dewey could have been in the Justice League. These two masked crusaders were with us a couple of weeks ago, and I won't reveal their true identities. But I feel like, we should all live like we're in the Justice League and do these things. Surround yourself with good people. Listen to others. Seek truth. Always. That's how you live your life. That's how you live every day. That's it. All right, now I'm going to illustrate something for you. A lot of times if you write something in my class, I write a little note back to you and I'll say, I need you to illustrate that with an example. So I want to illustrate these things. This is my thesis. I want to illustrate this thesis with an example. All right? Bear with me a second. Not done. Sometimes it's lonely. What did I say? Surround yourself with good people. You with the sad. Don't be discouraged, oh, I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and darkness still inside you makes you feel so small.
And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true